Alright boys and girls, and welcome back to another building video. This time I'm back with a smaller group base design now, looking at the trio to quad, maybe even a duo if you boys like to hit the notes. This one comes with a bunkered core that is safe for console and PC players. How nice indeed. And overall, it's got some great offline protection along with some amazing online raid defense capabilities. Really strong shooting floor and roof combination on this one. Not to mention a tight, safe, well-guarded compound. It's going to be very difficult for even offliners to make their way through. The storage in this one is pretty much immaculate, so if you do have a movie wipe, you're going to be able to store that loot that you do get a hold of. This base comes with some great mobility, a lot of open spaces too to give you guys a nice enjoyable wipe to play out of, and overall combines into a nice cozy vibe, making this one of the perfect bases for you and your team to rock this wipe. A lot of retake potential, and a lot of easy build steps to take you through as well. Overall, this is a safe and good bet to grab for wipe day. Boys and girls, we are rapidly approaching 80,000 subscribers, which means we're not actually that far off 100k, which is of course the mega milestone, the play button box, a massive dream of mine. So it would be amazing if you guys could maybe drop me a little sub, maybe a like on the video, and comment something really nice too. Alright, let's get in now with the tour of today's base. We're starting off with a pretty banging small little egg. I think you guys are going to be pretty impressed with this one. Once again, I'm showcasing a new TC. This is just another option that you guys can rock for now. I'm still not set on what my favorite thing is. Majority of my wipes when I play, we do rock a tunnel TC, but for now we're not going to be having that as the external comes off the bedrooms, so we're just doing it this way around. So standard disconnect over here, we can come on in. And it's just a quick little airlock into a nice little external TC. This is your disconnect up here, this little piece of twig. That's your TC inside. So breaking this breaks the disconnect, stopping this roof on the outside from making any connection to the wall. And then you can add this back in. And then adding in the twig again, just like that, adds our connection back. And there we go. TC is overlapping. So if you want to disconnect, that'll allow you to replace the main or put it back after a raid. It's up to you. If you guys are looking for more bases, there are now 19 on the Patreon, all available for just $5. I'll continue to update this with more and more bases every single month. And thank you to everyone that's on there already. If you're not already sold, you'll also gain access to any private bases I use in the PvP videos. And I'm also excited to announce that I've launched my own little custom server where you guys can come on and use the same things that I do to create my intros and tours in these cool looking generated plots where you can create cinematics and thumbnails for your own bases whilst having access to some amazing commands and plugins to make your life a lot easier. Join the Discord down below where you can gain access to all of my settings, and if you'd like to go a step further, you can purchase a custom base design and get your very own personal base down to your very own requirements for you and your team. This is a premium product and I'm super proud of how those go down. Appreciate you boys and girls for listening, and let's get back into the tour. So we've got 3 externals and then we have 3 gatehouses. That's how it all comes together. But overall, a pretty small mini base that you guys should appreciate. The external upkeep is pretty minuscule. Coming into the gatehouse now, we got some nice visibility as we come out the base, and a little bit of an airlock setup here as well, which is super clean, making it very hard to get deeped on if you've got the God Squad teammates. On the inside, we have some angles to retake the compound, and with the fog and with the blur, can't really tell just how good of an angle this is. I'm trying to find the balance between cinematic and informative, but you can see that's coming all the way through from one end of compound to the other. And that's just our gatehouse, and because of the airlock and the additional door path, I'm happy to keep some beds in here, but we do have dedicated bedrooms as well, so if you find yourself with a lot of beds, then you can rock those. Moving around from the other side of the base, we can see we've got our reverse waterfall that's going to take us up to the shooting floor level. We're not all on the turrets, so you guys do get an idea of the coverage. See a laser on my head, it means I'm not standing in a safe spot. We have a nice seawall here set up to stop people from getting through. And you can see the turret's not actually watching behind because there's nothing valuable in this area. This is going to force raiders to come a little bit closer if they want to take out these turrets, instead of being able to HV them from a distance after the high walls are gone. So the turrets are covering inside the compound where all the important stuff is. We got our bedroom module over here. These are the turrets on the gatehouse while sitting above. And on the inside, this is our nice little airlock bedroom with a good little setup. We get a retake into our compound, and again, with the fog there, you can't quite tell, but that is staring straight down the seawall into where our high walls are going to break. We can open up this double door to create an airlock, some space above for anything you may need. Nice little retake back into compound. down below, watching anyone door camping the bedroom. And then we do get a brutalist as well on the ground floor, watching towards the seawall and out towards the seawall on this side as well. If those high walls are gone, the angle will of course open up a lot more. Bedroom in here and a little cabinet for the storage. Console players just got barrels. Now you need to get these as well. These are banging, but you can definitely fit storage in there even without the DLC. That's our bedroom module. 3 of these 3 gates houses, 3 ways into the base, and 3 waterfalls that I'll showcase now very quickly. So the waterfall is going to come all the way up here, enter in with a ladder hatch, and that's going to take us to our roof. It'll retake onto roof from here, and then we can exit out fully. I'll try not to spoil that for now though, and we'll go back down. Next, I'm going to go ahead and take one of our ways into the base, and you can see it lines up quite closely to the waterfall. So if you come out the front door, you can head straight back up to roof in a fast motion, or you can take the slow path throughout the rest of the base. Jumping up here, we can take the little staircase up and over, popping off this garage door. Gives access to our mobility. There are 3 side mobility chutes all the way through the base, and then you also have main mobility in the core as well, which is super good too. So I can show you both of those options. We'll come into second floor now. We've got an airlock over here to stop anyone from going deep on the base, which is very nice. We can pop off these garage doors as well to give us an idea of what's going on. This is where another entrance meets up, and again that airlock's straight out through to our mobility, and one more over here. Opening up these G doors shows the mobility and gives access to our main core mobility up as well. We do get a one-way, watching the drop down from anyone coming through there, and our core is protected by a console-friendly bunker, trying to move away from the stair bunkers so that everyone can utilize the bases, which is very nice. And then we do get a 2-wall from the outside battery as well behind this locker, and that's your early game battery, and that's 2 walls from outside, which is nice too. A couple of loot rooms inside the usable honeycomb. These are 1 wall, and you'll imagine if any of these walls are breached, then we do get a Patrico setup from here as well, which is nice. The best storage is not for this floor though. We can keep our best loot either in the bunker or above. We're going to have some honeycomb loot rooms as well. Overall, this is the second floor, looking pretty nice. As for the bunker setup, you've probably seen this before, but if not, on the inside you're going to have a wooden floor guarding this armored roof. You'll need to chop that out with machetes, and unfortunately it will need to be wooden instead of twig if you want this to be effective from the outside. But you chop that out, and then you can just place it back, and then you can just place it back in here. And for now, we'll leave it in this kind of setup. You can just leave it like this for now, and that'll do while you guys are online, and then you swap it out with the bunker, of course, when everybody goes to bed. So that's your bunker. Nice, easy bunker. Safe for console as well, which is nice. And then we do come through to an airlock once again, which is so good to have. Wrapping through to our core here, everyone's got barrels now, so we can fit as much storage as we want in here. This is a nice little setup. Obviously, it's a smaller base. Your starter doesn't have too much storage, but as you expand through, you'll get access to more boxes, so there's no issue there at all. On the inside, though, you can keep some of your best loot in here, along with your TC to make sure to lock that as well, or else your externals won't be too effective. But nice little setup here with the shelf and the barrels, looking pretty good. And then we can wrap back out of our starter and head up to third floor now. Our third floor is connected by a little bit of mobility over the top here, and that can take us through into main loot level. The other options are the mobility chutes, and they do skip the third floor, which keeps our third floor a little bit stronger. You can see it's walled off, and these will take us straight to shooting floor level. When these doors are open, as they should be, for covering gaps, we do get a one-way from our shooting floor as well, looking from the mobility and one-waying into shooting floor, and then we can exit out from here too. I'll show the third floor now. Third floor is of course the main loot level. We can hold the drop down here with a one-way, and that comes from our shooting floor. And on the inside here, this would be kind of your main storage, where ideally you're going to be keeping most of your best loot. You can fit more boxes in here, but I decided to not use barrels, just to wrap some cool skins for once, so we can see what's going on. But yeah, of course, if you want to fit more storage, get some barrels going, and that works fine. Overall, not bad storage in here, and all of these loot rooms are honeycombed, so it's perfectly safe to keep the good stuff up here too. Jumping up, we do get some one-ways out onto our shooting floor as well. If I open up these doors, you can crouch on the large box, and we do get actually quite a nice available area to track enemies running around the shooting floor. You actually might be able to get a kill off these for once, and of course you can still HV through these too as well, which is very nice. Staircase is going to take us to roof. We get some boxes above and 2 single door airlocks to take us out to our shooting floor. Exiting out to shooting floor, we got the retakes coming through. A couple of downward angles here through the net is not too amazing, but that's where our reverse waterfall lines up. We get the downwards off the wide gaps here, which is super nice, and then we get some really tight fog protected peaks here, and the fog is really letting me down on the angle showcase, but this is staring directly at our external. You can kind of see a little bit better what's going on here. These do go quite wide out from the base, and they're very fog protected too, so they can't be used against you. And then beside those, we have the Patrico as well. And again, you really can't tell what I'm trying to show off here, but these are good angles. They're going to see far, especially if you got a half decent build spot. You're going to get good coverage off of these The cinematic effect is just really taking its toll on the angle showcase. More downwards through here though, great Patricos through the shooting floor, lots of mobility in and out of here, and lots of retake potential from the core and from the outside. Overall, a very banging shooting floor, and what else could you need? You can retake your roof through the wide gaps here as well, or at least get an idea as to what's going on up there. But our only way onto roof is the waterfalls or through main core like so. So we can come up onto this level. We get a cheeky little brutalist at the top here to help retake roof, but primarily the main function of this brutalist is you're going to build up to this level before adding your wide gaps to give you some nice angles. So this will be more of an early gain angle, and then it gives us a retake over up to the top of the base, and we can take these windows off for some more angles onto roof. Next, we double door airlock out. Couple of vendies for selling the goods, and then we can come out onto our roof. Roof is decently covered. Any tall raid bases will have a hard time holding the entirety of this down. In the center, we do have a SAM, which is decently protected from the outside as well. But this is a smaller base. I'm not expecting people to be throwing up SAMs on this realistically. Up on top, we get some more angles here, out towards the opposite direction. It's not covered as much. And these are some great Patrico angles. You could swap these out for frames if you want to tighten those up. But I like the downward potential from these as well. Can sit on the ramps to even do that some more. This is where the waterfalls line up, and they come with their own angles too, which is super nice. So we get some downwards looking towards where we expect to see some missing high walls. Little cabinet there as well. And of course, the retake onto roof too. We can jump over this side, and that gives us a brutalist as well, looking down, which is really great. Turrets are watching through as well, which is nice. And overall, that wraps up the base. Hopefully, boys and girls are pretty impressed with this one. Next, I'm going to go ahead and break down the total cost and upkeep for you now. So first of all, on screen is the total build cost. Second up is that build cost in box amounts to make things easier to visualize. And lastly is the total upkeep, the spread between 4 TCs. The main TC is of course holding the majority of that upkeep. Hopefully we're all impressed and we'd like to know how to build the base, and I'm going to go ahead and break that down for you now. Next, we'll go ahead and get in with the tutorial of the Prodigy. So we're going to be starting off with a square and a triangle to claim our build spot, and that's all that we're going to need for our mini starter base. So you can claim the actual build spot just with this. You can throw your TC in there and see leveling up, and that's all good for claiming build spot. And from there, we can go ahead and add a square coming off the side and 2 triangles to link it together. Wrap it around with some walls, and we add door frames to come all the way through with some ceilings too. That gives you a little bit more space to play off of. This square over here is going to be our bunker, which means it's a wooden square. Important to leave that way. And the one in front of that needs to be a raised foundation. If you don't have space for a raised foundation, basically just means no bunker, so just add a normal jump up here and you won't have a bunker. Then we can wrap this in half holes and seal it up. Over on this side, it's just a standard triangle and we have no use for it. And then we can wrap up the rest of the footprint, adding one more triangle off the side here to keep things safe. Wrap our walls through as we do. This one here is going to be a single door, and this is how you want to set up the doors so that you do get an airlock like this. And double door finally. And for now, we're just doing a wooden staircase to get us up. But of course, when it's time to seal the bunker, you'll want to go like this. We break the bunker by breaking this wood. Of course, you're going to need tools inside the base, or enough to make machetes at least. But for now, we will leave it in this state while we are continuing building. Then from here, we can add a window on the left and seal up the rest of the jump up as normal. Just to make sure nobody uses this against us, you can add a triangle here too, and then that makes it a lot less effective. You can add some boxes above here and seal this up as well. And then I'm going to add in the other triangles off of the squares to keep the footprint looking symmetrical. So we're just wrapping through, and another one here. There we go. We can then get our door path set up so it's easier to understand everything that's going on. So we're going to have a single door here and a wall here. And we can throw down another single door just like this. And keep in mind that this floor is not perfectly symmetrical, so don't allow that to confuse you. We can throw our final single door to exit out over there, and that's all 3. So it's almost symmetrical, but not quite over here, okay? In this triangle here, we do have a spot for a battery. Remember, I covered that up with a locker in the tour. Then from here, we add in a window and another window here. And later on, these will be loot rooms with little Patrico spots. You can raise those up now if you'd like, just so it makes sense. Honeycombing the bottom floor, adding a shelf in the second, and doing that on 2 out of 3 of the sides. This one on the back of the bunker is just going to get the full seal. like so. This side over here is just going to get a wall, and then you can add a frame out this way, and we'll start wrapping our floors in here too. Let's obviously jump up here, so don't floor that one in. And that's how everything's going to be set up. You get door frames through the center, and then if you get all your airlocks moving, and you'll know you've done the door path right, if you can get all your airlocks working. Just like so. We're going to go ahead and bring this jump up just so it makes a better seal from above. So I'm going to very quickly just wrap that in. And again, we don't want this used against us, so we'll just float a square here for now, and then seal everything up. So it's anti-door cam from above if you just add a double door, and at least now we have a bit of roof access to play off of. For now, you should just be entering the base with a piece of twig, keeping it nice and simple. But I'm going to go ahead and build the actual entrances to the base now for you. So we're going to come down the front here where these doors are, and it's the same on all three sides now. We're fully symmetrical. And you can wrap this in to make a full kind of hexagon shape, just like so. So these first two sections are going to be pure honeycombing. Just like that. And this one over here is going to be to do with the waterfall, where we jump up and over towards the net. And this one here is going to be our actual entrance to the base. And that will allow you to place the staircase going inside the honeycomb, giving us a nice and easy jump up as well at the same time. Don't add a triangle in here, just leave that open. And we've wrapped this through without sealing anything up as the jump ups continue, like so. So we'll go ahead and add that. I'll match the honeycombing here as well, just so it makes sense. We'll add this kind of module on the remaining two sides. So I'll go a bit faster this time. We come out with the full hexagon. First two triangles are pure combing. Then the left side is our waterfall. The right side is our entrance. If you don't like this staircase jump, you can just do a furnace too, but should be easy enough jump for players to do. Then we go back into combing. Over here, we do our jump up. There we go. And we leave this kind of frame section open just like that. We'll do one more time over here. Honeycomb the first two. There we go. Waterfall here. Honeycomb again. Part of the jump up now. And then we have our entrance here. With a jump up above. And there we go. Nice and set. For now, if you just want to seal these off with a double door, and then it makes it anti-door camp again, so nobody can deep you from above, because we're not going to take these chutes any higher right now. But that seals up perfectly fine. Okay, next we're going to add some height to the base, take us up to those brutalists on roof, and give us a bit of roof camp ability. So we're going to start off by imagining ourselves on the jump up here. And we know that we have our retakes kind of wrapping through on the left here, and then one on the right. So this is how we set that up. Just like so. Remember to do these first before you forget. And then we can wrap in the rest of this as it's more simple. That gives us our loot room here. Boxes under here. Another loot room over here. And then door frames spammed through with a single door here to create that airlock. Then we can seal this all in. Of course, leaving this little square section open. Over here is going to be our exit out into shooting floor. And again, we can play off this airlock early game as well, which is pretty nice. And we even get a little downward action here too. Place those embrasures on now. And early game, if you're afraid of these being used against you, just start floating out the floors like so. And then no one can really do anything, even with the embrasure off. It's not really a weakness. We'll leave that setting like this. We can wrap in our jump up, nothing crazy goes on there. And if you want, you can add some boxes on this level if you find you need the storage, or you can take it off and keep the mobility a little bit more fresh. Completely up to you. Standard wall over here and half walls above, and then we go up with the staircase. You can add a door frame there as well and throw that on too. Coming up top, we have our airlock above our airlock, so it's all in the same spot. Nice and easy. This time we do a window, and you can place vending machines up against that, or for now just glass or wooden window bars depending where you're at. We then wrap this on the back, and there's nothing to see there. sealing it in. Leave this door frame out, and we'll wrap up with a brutalist peak here. Just like so. Even raise up frames from the shooting floor to this level. And add in your frames at the top here. And that's going to give us a nice bit of roof campability far out and around the base. So if anyone's pulling up, things look a little bit more daunting now. We didn't really spend that much materials to get to this height. So you got a few of the double door airlocks to play off of for a bit of downward. And then the brutalist at the top here too. Next thing we should do is get some externals down, because if you're roof camping from this, it's pretty likely someone's going to try and grief you. So let's get our TCs claimed. We're going to head over to this side of the base, and I'm going to throw in 3-sided symmetry, just so you guys don't have to watch a full Rust movie. 3-sided symmetry essentially means that whatever I do on this side is going to happen on 1, 2, 3 sides. I'm going to have a little icon on the screen so you know when 3-sided symmetry is activated, and then when it's not. So we're going to come out with a square into a triangle, then square into triangle again, and that's going to give us a center facing triangle like this. We can break our build out now, and we're going to operate off this one, wide gapping out. The 2 square wide gap method, capping it off with a triangle, and then we want to return back towards the base and repeat our original build out until we've got 2 wide gap triangles just like this. Assuming you guys don't have that much materials and you just want to get the TC itself down without worrying about anything else, I'll rush straight towards that. Square into triangle, then 1, 2, 3, 4. Into a full row of triangles just like that. And then your TC can go in the one on the right here, so not this one that sticks out, but the one over here. You can seal that up and leave it alone if you need. And then if your twig eventually decays, just copy that build up back straight here. But I'm just going to play as if it's still there. Once you've gotten to this stage, the build spot is pretty much ungriefable and nobody can do anything that's going to be too annoying, so we're not needing to worry about that. But assuming you've got mats to continue on with compound, we'll go ahead and start working on it. So what needs to be upgraded over here is going to be the row of triangles that's all involved in our external. And if you're worried about beefing it up now, we can go ahead and do that. Start by wrapping it in just like so. Then gives ourselves a half wall in front of this twig square with a full wall on top. And wrap half walls above, just like so. And it's very important you do this. This is not a step you can just leave out, because we need a roof to come in and hit the full wall, not a half wall. So you can see it's not actually touching anything technically. And then we can add in the twig frame for the disconnect. And from there you can spam garage doors, windows, whichever makes sense for you here. Spam that throughout. We can go ahead and upgrade this and add an anti-soft side on top. And then we can connect everything up with a couple of frames. Upgrade this square here, as it's going to be for the beds. You can break this one or you can leave it. It's completely up to you. We just connect it with frames so that there's no soft side. And we can wrap this in for beds. You can go ahead and upgrade these foundations as well. And then I'm going to leave the bedroom module alone for now and just do the bare minimum that we need for high walls. And the last thing I'll do is just add a half wall on the back here as well, so that it's ready for the barricade setup. But right now we're looking to rush some high walls, so I'm not going to build the full kind of compound setup just yet. We'll just get everything down that we need for high walls. Next thing we need to do is move on to getting some gatehouses down throughout the center. Those are the bedroom modules. In the middle here we're going to have gatehouses. Again, the 3-sided sim is on. And we're going to start by coming off of here with a square into triangle, break the square and do not leave that there. Add in some frames to join this triangle to the other ones, and then we can do a full row of triangles just like so. You can also bring out the front, and there we go. And that's all the foundations that go down on this section. Nothing new there added. And the bare minimum that we need for some high walls is a window on the left, double door on the right, and double door around front, giving us our balcony here with some half walls in front. And now we are ready for high walls, believe it or not. And it's quite so. Keeping symmetry on for the high wall placement, we're going to come around the front where the gatehouse is and take out our high wall. We don't want it pressing too far in towards, so we just pull it forward like this. And we're looking for the high wall to create a straight line with the half wall up above. So use your Alt key and kind of imagine these making a straight line as they go across. That looks about right to me. And we're not clipping in too far here. And then the next wall, it's a simple 2-wall seal. We don't want this part to clip in too far, or else it's going to make the bed placing a little bit annoying. So you can hold shift and just pull it to the left a little bit. And that's going to leave a little bit more of a gap on the bedroom module here, whilst keeping everything nice and tucked in. And there we go. And hopefully we can still fit our beds in there, no problem. Bang, bang. And that's our compound done. Nice and simple, nothing tricky at all. Of course, you're going to want your barricades on there too. And assuming that you don't have too dodgy of a terrain, you can pretty much call this compound grub free for now. Unless they've brought a few ladders with them. But for now, this is a challenge to get into. Up next, we're going to go ahead and strengthen the base with some honeycombing. And that's going to allow us to move into the 3rd floor and get some more boxes going in here. So first up, we're going to look towards our jump up and come up from here. 3-sided symmetry is still on, so everything I do is going to go around the base. We're setting up that one way now, so we have the half wall into window here, frame in the middle, and half wall into window again. You can see that's how the one way links up as we stand on our jump up here. Wrapping it in with the frame, and this side is just pure honeycomb, like so. And then you set up your embrasures, just like that. You can leave this one more open plan if you want. The one way still works. And then we can look down and through. If you cap this with a half wall at the top and then add in a ladder hatch frame here. And then from there we can add a retake onto our roof. Single door to exit out of our jump up. Full wall on the side here. And another half wall on top. Down with a floor here. You can add this down the middle. A couple of windows. You can floor this one off. And finally seal that in. And to just full secure this section, we'll just add in all the ceilings. There we go. Boom, boom. So we got our jump ups coming to this height level now. And you can even add the net in for your reverse waterfall. And you can start using that already too. Add in a deployable of your choice down the bottom here. Something small and convenient to use. And you can cap it with a ladder hatch at the top as well. Or you can just jump for now too, depending if you don't have the ladder hatch BP for a while. Once you get it, I'll make life a little bit easier. You can seal this at the top. Boom, boom. And then we can get those embrasures on there as well. One like that and one like that. Very important. And there we go. We're looking pretty good. Steel in the honeycombing on this level as well, to keep our boxes nice and safe. And on top here as well. The next thing that we're ready to do is get some frames going and seal up our shooting floor. So we're going to place down all the foundations we need to do that, starting with our bedroom module. And I've still got symmetry on. We're going to come off the squares into 2 triangles, just like that. That should create your seawall over here. Everything seals up nice. And it's going to give us our shooting floor too. So we've done all that on all 3 sides, just like so. For starters, we're going to be on the bedroom module, and we're going to throw down a couple of frames on these 2 triangles. On top of that, we're going to throw in half walls with the soft side facing in towards the beds like so. And then we can throw frames on top with windows facing out towards us like so. Over on this side, it's pretty simple. You just raise that right up. Perfect. Out towards the edge, we can come up with a frame into a half wall into 2 frames. That cuts in at half height. Same over here. There we go. Then you can stack frames coming up to enter half height on these windows. And that's actually all that we need to seal in the shooting floor. So we'll go ahead and rush to that stage so you guys are ready to defend. First of all, we just throw simple squares down here. And again, 3-sided sim is still on, so you'll need to do this on all 3 sides. Then we can come out with a couple of frames here, floating on this middle one. Wrapping it in with half walls, and then just sealing it up. Then you can add half walls on top of that section. Over on the floating frame, we can add in a frame. And we can wrap that in half walls too, with a window in front. Same over here. And if you have the grill, you can definitely throw that in there. And that will keep your head a little bit safer on the inside here. Throw your embrasures down as I'm doing. And then the ramps facing in this way, as I do as well. There we go. And I think it looks cleaner with Brutalist, but if you don't care, you don't care. There we go. And that sets up nice and nice. Just frames down the middle here with a triangle on top. And a couple of squares. And that's your shooting floor actually sealed in and ready to use. These gaps here are a little bit dangerous, so I would just have double doors that you leave open to cover that up. And then you can utilize your tighter angles without anyone using any gaps against you. The next thing I'm going to go for is to finish off the roof. I feel like it's important to get this part done, and then we can strengthen compound at the end. as these compound bedrooms and such are a little bit more of a later game job in my opinion. So up on roof, we're going to do a couple of half walls on top of our waterfall kind of exit here, with floors on top, and a turret can go in the back there. Over on this section, it's a simple half wall into a ramp. Same over here. Down the middle of all this, we can add frames off the half walls here. And then we're just going to add floors in between with a couple of windows. And we'll full seal that in. Keep our heads safe. Reverse embrasures with a couple of ramps at the top, just going this kind of direction. There we go. So we can tighten that up or look further down. One last thing to add, just to strengthen things up on the outside here, give it some bulk, is to add frames off the top of these into half walls. One more set of frames into floor frames. And then on this side, where we have the kind of half wall setup, we want to do a brutalist. And on this side, we want to do anything other than a brutalist. And we can add walls down the middle. There we go. So that gives us a brutalist angle at the top here, and then a kind of downward angle on this side. And you'll need some sort of deployable to stand on to utilize this. Speaker's probably not the best option. I think I had a cabinet in the tour, and that works pretty well. Or you can throw a locker down on this level, and that works too. Just keeps things a little bit tighter, but anything like that will do. And you can throw your windmills over here as well. Once you've done that, the roof is complete and ready to use. Next thing we're going to do now is beef up our compound just to get things moving. I'm going to go ahead and place our turret spots first, just to make life easier. So you're able to throw one turret down here, nice and early game if you'd like. And our other turret can go down above this section here, right at the back of the half walls. So if you want to rush those, you can. If the turrets are ready to go before these windmills, maybe you want to solar panel those. That's how simple it is to set up the turrets in the beginning. They don't require anything too crazy. And then we'll go ahead and continue building the compound, still with the three-sided sim on. So over here, we're going to do 2 windows, and that's going to give us some Patricos. Over here, we're also going to create a Patrico angle, like that, looking out of our compound. That's just a window for looking. And that's a single door, and we create that same airlock that we were using inside the base, like that. There we go. Now we can double out from here and throw our windows there. Over here, we can throw down a full wall with a half wall on top. And we can create a Patrico angle here as well, with a little head coverage using a roof. There we go. And the turret can just get fully sealed up at the top here, just like so. That's watching throughout the compound. Next, we're going to set up the bedroom module. So over here, we just wall this in, and this is going to be a Patrico on this side. However, over on this side, it's going to be a brutalist angle with windows facing in this direction, and it's sealed off on that side. We can add in our brutalist ramp over here, and a ceiling at the top of all this. Cap this with half walls to match the height, just like so. And we'll single door, double door airlock into here. Half walling at the top as well. And there we go. Over on this section, you're going to want to add in a frame just to tighten up that angle. And we can seal this from above to keep us safe. And we'll throw our grill in here too. And then no one can look inside at the top. Then we can get the Patrico going on this side. So we full wall into half wall. The little ramp Patrico there. And then we half wall at the top and give us some head coverage again. And that's going to allow you to come up and over the top if you do want to start spamming walls in a online raid and such. And over on this side, we just simply add in a half wall with a frame. And you can leave this open for deployables. If you do need to jump up again, you can do that, and you can spam the walls up and through, all the way over the top, keeping the base safe in an online raid. Not my preferred strategy. I do prefer to try and get a gun out, but I do know some builders are repping that. Ideally, if I'm getting online, then the building plan is not coming out for long. But if you do want to rep that strat, it's on the base here. You can do that. I know some of you will appreciate it. And yeah, once you've done that, that completes the base design. So hopefully you boys and girls have enjoyed this video. If you did, then please feel free to leave me a like and drop me a comment down below. Remember to check out the Discord and the Patreon, and maybe cop a custom if you're feeling nice. And I'll see you boys and girls in the next video. See you in a bit.